From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hujavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill in Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com. That is the website. Check them out. Food, fun, and there's the rule of threes. I need a third F. I'll think of it one of these days.
Frivolity? Frivolity? Is that a good word for it? Food, fun, and frivolity?
Well, you don't want to be frivolous, right? Isn't frivolity part of the root word of, isn't frivolous the root of it?
Well, sure, but it means you're having a good time. I think you're not caring too much about whatever you're doing. I think I could be wrong about that.
All right, well, check it out, cptallybar.com, and again, as always, you can pull out your phone app, or rather, pull out your phone and the camera app, tap on that barcode, takes you right to the website. You can put orders on to go right online, right from your phone, right from your laptop, mobile device. It's awesome. Check them out. They're great. The Vegas Wall, cranking with all sorts of sporting options every day of the week as well. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Promo code is Warchant30. Thumbs up here on the YouTube if you're listening to us. A rating of 5 stars would be much appreciated, maybe even an accompanying review on the iTunes, Apple sort of ecosystem. Corey S. Clark, lead writer, senior writer for Warchant.com. We'll have staff writer Austin Cox later on the show to talk about Cruton. But before then, Corey, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Don't forget to mention that it's trivia at CP on Tuesday.
Okay.
So get up there. It's not Warchant trivia, but it's still worth going for. You can win money and see how smart you are. And there's a chance you might see me there. So if that floats your boat at all. And I did look up frivolity. It's lack of seriousness.
Okay.
Semicolon lightheartedness.
Okay.
So that's perfect for Corner Pocket. They're not serious there. It's all lightheartedness. So yeah, there's a lot of frivolity there.
I need to draft a trivia team and become a rival to you and your team at the Corner.
Why don't you just get on my team? We need all the help we can get. We never win.
I know there's open tryouts. I know you guys are just
man. We're taking whatever we can get. We're taking all comers.
All right. We'll figure that out. Corey, the weekend started off slowly but surely. I thought on a good note, but you didn't fully embrace the good news because I guess maybe the headline didn't match the actual meat of the story. And that was we got some stuff to talk about that is tangentially related to Florida State. That's how we want to be totally focused on Florida State, but it's April, everybody. We're trying. But we do have baseball, softball, NBA top honors to talk about. And again, we'll have recruiting at the end of the show. But I did see the headline scrolling on my ticker from ESPN about NCAA agrees to several rule changes, including changing the targeting penalty. And I was like, oh, Corey Clark, rejoice.
Nope.
But that's the headline, and you click on the story, and apparently they're going to allow you to appeal your first half ban for the following game. So if you get ejected in the second half on targeting, you can appeal it over the course of those following days, and then maybe your guy's ready to go for the following game. But hey, if you get targeted, if you do it in the first half, no such appeal process is there. Step in the right direction or nowhere near good enough or in the right direction for your liking, Corey?
No, it means nothing. It's a step sideways. It means think about what would the what is the appeals process? Number one, it goes to who?
The head of NCAA national officiating.
So what is he going to see that theoretically the person at the ACC home offices or the guy in the booth is not going to see that would overturn what was called? It's not like all these targeting plays are reviewed. So what replays is he going to see that's going to overturn what the guy in the booth saw?
I think you're taking the emotion out of it. You're not on that strict TV timeout deadline to figure it out. Maybe you make a call to the coaches, the guy who, the coach whose player did get hit, and like, hey, man, how was your guy? Was he all right? Actually, man, that kind of really wasn't in the heart of the spirit of the law. We weren't too upset about it, and maybe they'll maybe use some sort of nuance to figure it out. But I get your point.
Yeah, but there's no
photos
nuance.
are the photos. The videos.
There's no nuance. Like if the rule is your helmet hit its helmet, then that's the rule. Like all of a sudden, like the nuance should be displayed during the course of the game, so the kid doesn't miss 3 quarters or 2 quarters or 4 quarters or whatever it is. Yeah. That's where I want the nuance, not 2 days after the fact. Like that's what, like if only in like rare instances should somebody be kicked out of the game for targeting. If you see that it was dirty and you can see the intent, and we've all seen those hits, we know what that looks like. We know what that intent looks like. If you've seen that, then yeah, kick him out of the game. Otherwise, it's a penalty, and be done with it. Or, you know what I mean? That's it. And I don't understand how review all of a sudden. And also, what if you lose the kid in the second quarter? And so he doesn't, like, the first half of the next game isn't nearly as important as not having your starting safety for the last quarter of a close game. Like, oh, thanks a lot. So you're going to go back and overturn one of your officials to then tell us, oh, actually, you know what? He shouldn't have been kicked out of the game in that fourth quarter. You know that drive and with 2 minutes left where you lost the game? He actually should have been on the field. But the guy in the booth made a mistake. We're sorry. He does get to play the first half. I don't see that ever happening. I bet there's going to be I bet the over-under on that is 2. The whole country where they overturn a targeting call. Because they replay it. Sometimes it takes 10 minutes for them to review it and replay it. So I just don't understand what that's even going to do at all. I mean, I guess they're addressing targeting, but that does nothing. Absolutely nothing for me. Like, get rid of the ejection rule. Just get rid of it. Eject them for unsportsmanlike conduct. And you can, if you target a kid, you target a kid. But the ejection should be for unsportsmanlike conduct. And you can see that. You and I have watched enough football to know what unsportsmanlike conduct looks like. And it shouldn't. That's all the rule needs to be. The NFL survives perfectly without ejecting players for a quarterback lowering his helmet right into a linebacker's helmet. Now all of a sudden he's ejected. It's just ridiculous. So it is what it is. I'm glad they thought to do something about it, but this is no teeth. It's pointless.
All right. Also, schools and conferences will be able to report scenarios where an opposing team may have been awarded an injury timeout suspiciously. The conference or school involved in the complaint would be able to issue discipline if the national coordinator of officiating deems it necessary. Any injured player is still required to sit out at least one play. That hasn't really happened to Florida State here. I mean, I know who knows
Virginia Tech.
Who knows how high of a climb we'd be on with Willie Taggart right now if
Right.
Virginia Tech wasn't able to fake their injuries on that fateful night in September of 2018. But it doesn't feel nearly as relevant as it maybe once was. But I guess that one to me strikes me as how are they going to police that? And then it's going to be thrown to the conference. So the head of officiating from the national coordinators are going to be like, all right, ACC head of officials, Pitt, they were bad boys. They faked it. And then, Jim Phillips is going to have to figure out what he's going to do for the punishment. We know if it happens to Florida State, we're going to get the book thrown at us.
Right.
Pitt won't. So
I would say, so the Pitt thing is the quarterback faking a slide, right?
Yeah, but I was using Pitt as an example of just name a team that's going to fake an injury. It's going to come down to the conference issuing the discipline. It's not going to be the national. Like, there's no NCAA governing body that's like, all right, Alabama, you goofed it up. It's going to be kicked to the SEC. And then it falls to the SEC's lap, like, all right, how are we going to punish Nick Saban's team for faking an injury during the course of a game that they probably should have lost, but they called the fake timeout injury and they recouped themselves. They're not going to do anything to Nick.
No, I think the rule there should be if you come out of the game for an injury, you can't come back in during that drive.
Yeah, if they stop. If you stop play for an injury,
you can't come back in during that drive. Not one play, it's that drive. So if the team's rolling on you and you decide to stop for an injury, okay, that's fine, but you can't come in 2 plays later or 5 plays later, however long that drive lasts. You're risking not being on the field for that drive. So if you're willing to do that, that's fine. But one play or whatever they're talking about now after the fact it's toothless. So just say, it's not that hard to say, if you come out of a game for an injury, you're obviously, if you have to stop the game because of this and trainers come out on the field, well, buddy, you're clearly not healthy enough to play 45 seconds later. So keep your butt on the sideline. You get to come in the next time the team has the ball, the next time that offense has the ball. But it's not now. It's not this drive. I feel like that would alleviate all of it. All right. Or maybe not, but at least at that point, the defense is suffering something. Like the defense, there's actually repercussions for a defensive player faking an injury. He can't go back and play during that drive. That seems fair enough, right?
I just wonder how. Yeah, it is. It is fair enough. I just wonder how they determine whether or not he was faking. Like, it was we thought he sprained his ankle, but it was
that's
just a
what I'm
cramp,
saying.
and
You can't determine it. So it needs to be an indiscriminate rule that just says if we have to stop the game for an injury, you can't return until the drive is over.
I know, that's crazy though. But what if it's on 1st and 10? Miami starting at their own 25. Jermaine Johnson goes down, and then he can't come back in the game until Miami goes 6 plays, 75 yards, and scores a touchdown.
Yeah. Hey, Jermaine Johnson, don't go down.
Toughen it up.
Stay upright, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay.
You can take that next play off and not even try real hard, but you need to stay on the field. If you come off the field, you can't go back on, man. Sorry.
What if
why would he do that? Why would he fake it at that point when it's with the first play of an 8-play drive?
But I'm not saying he's faking it, but like, what if he thought he was really hurt and he's like, man, I am hurt, but then after 30, 45 seconds gets a shot of water, sprints up and down the sideline, he's good to go back into the game, but he can't because the drive is still ongoing. Then you're
it's a bummer. That's why.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to be more.
It's football. That's why we don't play it. It's for tough people.
That's right. So just stay on the field, man. If you're hurt.
And then
the targeting thing is just a joke. Like, everybody knows what the real problem with targeting, and it's just the punishment does not fit the crime. So many of them are inadvertent. It literally would be like every time somebody picks up a charge in basketball, they get kicked out of the game. It's just nuts. Some charges are violent, and it's knees to the groin, it's heads to the chin. There's blood, not many, but some. And guys are literally just saying, that little guy's going to stand in front of me? Are you crazy? Okay, feel this. But most charges are accidents. And they're not charges. They're blocks that are called charges. Most targeting are accidents. They're accidental targets. So just don't eject them. But they won't. They're going to keep doing what they do. Oh, you get to play. Sorry we kicked you out with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter when you're up by 6 points. Our bad. But hey, you get to play the next first half. Isn't that fair? It's just crazy.
I think we're going to have to start using Wednesdays as kind of an open audition for us to maybe find other avenues in life for our careers. After seeing what happened this weekend, Corey, we lament on the show probably too much about what NIL means, whether it's edging too closely to pay for play, and what will the student-athlete model look like, what can it look like, how can it be sustainable, what is equitable. Yes, we don't want these kids to not be able to eat properly. Do we want these kids to have 6-figure salaries at age 19 for not having accomplished all that much in life? I don't know. Some of us don't. Are we being haters? I don't know. Maybe. But what is going on now? Miami tweeting out. Miami's got a money guy, John Ruiz apparently. They're dishing out nearly $1 million to a guy who averaged 17 points in basketball. Nigel Pack, never even heard of him, but I don't follow basketball that closely, so perhaps I'm
Where's he from?
Kansas State, originally from Indianapolis. Sophomore.
So played in the real conference. Yeah.
Averaged 17.5 points, nearly 4 rebounds, and a little bit over 2 assists per game. He tweets out, this is John Ruiz, who's, I think, a billionaire, well-accomplished businessman. Shout out to him, but there's lots of those guys in the NFL and all sorts of professional sports leagues that are not successful in that realm. But tweets it out, I think, on Friday or maybe Saturday. But anyhow, the tweet was his company is proud to announce that this young man from Kansas State, Nigel Pack, has officially committed to Miami as a basketball player. The biggest deal to date for the company that he's going to be a spokesman for, I guess, or who knows exactly what he's going to do. But 2 years, $800,000 American dollars total, at $400 per year, plus he gets a car.
Right.
To play basketball at the University of Miami. And I'm not besmirching college basketball, love it, but it's not appreciated nearly in this state as much as it would be in
And imagine
Lawrence
like in
or
Miami,
Lexington.
they have Tyler Hero down there.
Yeah.
They have Jimmy Butler. They have real basketball stars there. This kid from Manhattan, Kansas, is worth $400,000 a year and a car. Again, go get it. It's fine. It feels like he's more of a big name in Manhattan, Kansas. Like, that's where the money should be if you're talking about name, image, and likeness. 0 people in South Florida had ever heard of that kid before Saturday. Literally, probably 0 people. Who would?
Except
like
the
I
one
haven't heard of
Kansas
them.
State alum, the one Kansas State
Yeah, there's
alum who lives in
probably.
Miami.
You think they have like a Kansas State bar on Saturdays down in South Florida for the for the Wildcats games?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's rocking. So there's no Kansas State fans anywhere in Florida, so they don't know who that kid is, and So again, it's fine, man. I like the fact that a kid that's proved himself at the college level can, and I don't really. He's a transfer, so he's proved himself at the college level, proven himself. So he sure, pay him, fine, get him, but we can't. There's no other way to look at that other than that's an inducement to come to Miami. He has accomplished nothing in South Florida that's going to make him a household name where he could sell cars or sell whatever this company is that he's now advertising for, or multiple companies he'll be advertising for, because nobody cares about him. Nobody knows him. If you're not getting Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero or Bam Adebayo, nobody in Miami is going to care about a basketball player talking to him about some company. But it's fine. It's just he's getting at least some of his just desserts for doing well at the college level. My biggest problem is the kids at the high school level that have done nothing. They can sell nothing, mean nothing, have done nothing. They're getting these same kind of dollar amounts and same kind of deals for essentially just coming to school to play. That's what this guy's doing, but at least you can say he's built up a bit of a brand because he averaged 17 a game in the Big 12. That's bigger than than averaging 25 a game in Region 6. Region 6 4A in Alabama somewhere. Like, at least he's done it on TV. So he has a bit of a brand other than these other guys. But and did you see? I feel like somebody else announced they were coming back to school, college basketball wise.
North Carolina, I know they got a guy. Their whole team's coming back.
R.J. Davis, Baycott. The whole team's
coming back too, I think, right?
Yeah, Caleb Love, he's coming back. So because man, they can make. It's North Carolina. Yeah. Like that, I guess that's the difference, man. I am convinced that somebody like Armando Baycott can sell cars in Chapel Hill right now. He is a big name in the state of North Carolina. North Carolina is basketball. It's a basketball hotbed. They love that sport. They love that team. That dude is a household name in that state. He's kind of a household name in the country, but certainly that state. He is a big star. You could make the argument that Baycott and Caleb Love are two of the 10 biggest sports stars in that state. This kid that's going to Miami right now to play basketball isn't one of the 100 biggest names in the state of Florida, sports-wise. But still, whatever. They got money. They got a guy that has money, so he's going to pay for him to come and play. So Larinaga getting it done again.
I mean, what are they going to be throwing at football players then?
Yeah, more than that. More than that. That's where we are. But at least they're transfers, man. Like, again, it's the high school kids that I have the bigger problem with. Okay. Not that I don't want them to make money. They're just getting paid before they've done anything. If you've done something at the college level, by all means, go collect. This kid clearly isn't an NBA prospect because if he was, he would be going pro right now, not going to Coral Gables to play in front of 1,200 fans. So he's clearly he's not an NBA prospect. So he gets to make money in this country playing basketball. Great. Because the rest of his life, if he's going to make money playing basketball, it's almost certainly going to be overseas. It's just that nobody in Miami cares about him. So it's a facade. It's a fraud. People in Tallahassee, like, Matthew Cleveland, I think, could sell some stuff in Tallahassee. You know what I mean? He could make money off his name, image, and likeness. He could go and have an autograph signing at, Corner Pocket
he could do.
Or Zaxby's.
There's nothing that he could do that would be worth $400,000. There's no amount
of course.
No offense, Matthew Cleveland, great. Glad you're sticking around.
But don't you think people in Tallahassee, number one, there are people that go to those games. But Matthew Cleveland, if he walks into a restaurant in Tallahassee, people is like, hey, man, that's Matthew Cleveland. That's cool. If this kid from Kansas State walks into any bar in Miami, in South Florida, they'll be like, that's a tall guy. I wonder if he plays ball.
He's not. He's 6 foot. He's just a guard.
Oh, I thought he was 6'4". I thought he was like a 6'4". Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, they're not going to think. They're not going to even know when he. Yeah, exactly. They're going to be like, who's that? They won't even look at him. They won't even think twice. Like Matthew Cleveland is a big deal in Tallahassee, at least, right? Like he's a recognizable person. This guy is not. So this guy's likeness means nothing other than they need him to score some points next year.
That's crazy.
That's all it is.
I mean, the market was set a long time ago, and I'm sure it's gone up with inflation and every other sort of factor you could possibly imagine. But, man, again, if you're going to get 17 points from Kansas State as a guard, I mean, if he's worth $400,000, what was Zion worth? What was
Well, right, and that's the difference, right? Is like what was Jameis worth? Like they got nothing, at least over the table.
You didn't know, right? Like they didn't quote do anything,
right?
Because they were coming out of high school. But I mean, I don't know how you compete with this.
But imagine Zion after, because I think his first game was against Kentucky at the Garden, and he put up 30-something points. Him and R.J. Barrett both. Like after that game, Zion literally, like nobody would have had a problem with Zion doing that one time on national television. I mean, he was the face of the sport until he got hurt against Carolina. He was the face of the sport for 2 months, 3 months. Nobody would have had a problem with him signing a multi-million-dollar deal because that's what he was worth. This kid ain't worth that. Not name, image, and likeness wise. It would be like
nothing wise. I mean, it would, even if you're doing a salary cap for college sports. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe at some point there will be that where you'll have literal salaries. Like I can't imagine a kid at Miami, like the 36th best team in the nation, their starting guard is making $400,000 a year. Plus, I mean, I know we don't care about the education. It doesn't matter. But, hey, tuition in Miami is not cheap. You add all that stuff in together, too. That's absurd. What are we doing? Where are we going?
It's what it is right now. Again, that kid at least has done something at the college level. It's just, they're so brazen about it now, which is, I mean, I guess that's where it is.
And it ain't because you're Miami people, and the Miami people listen to the show. If this kid was doing this at, Auburn, I would still think it's ridiculous. I just think it's crazy for John Ruiz, and like, who am I to tell a billionaire how to act? He's obviously done quite well with everything. But to like pound your chest over these things and you have no idea how it's going to work out. Basketball is such a tricky
right, but he doesn't. Like, that's the thing. Like, and I've heard Ira bring this up too about and Jeff too about these companies are going to understand after a year or two they're not getting their bang for their buck, and the market's going to go down. Well, that's assuming these billionaires. They have a toy here. They have a team that they cheer for, and they're going to try to give that team as many good players as they can. That's all they're trying to do. And yes, if they pay a kid $600,000 and he comes, he doesn't end up being great, they're going to be like, well, that sucked. That was a waste of money. But they're still trying to just make their team the best they can because they don't care if the guy sells one piece of merchandise for them. They just want the team that they cheer for to win. And there are plenty of people listening to this that if they had the wherewithal or the money to make Florida State great at football, even if they couldn't guarantee that they would make their money back on these expenditures, they would still go buy an offensive lineman for $800,000. They would go buy a quarterback for $1.5 million. If money was not an option because they were a billionaire, they wouldn't care. They want to see their team win. And they're not trying to get their money back. They feel good about watching their team win, and they want to make their team win. That's what they're trying to do. These guys that have so much money they don't know what to do with is what I'm talking about. Guys like you and I, yeah, we want a return on our money because we don't have an infinite amount of it. But these guys do. So some of these schools, they have such an infinite amount of money, they're just going to like, oh yeah, okay, I'll give you another $100,000 to the pool so you can bring in this guard. Just tell whatever you think's best. I want my team to win, and that's what I'm willing to do for it. And if he ends up being a bust, he ends up being a bust. But at least I tried, and we'll get him next time. Yeah, I feel like that's the reality with some of these schools. Now, Miami usually isn't in the ballpark of being one of the big spenders. They never have been, but now apparently they got a benefactor, and Florida State's going to have to adjust, I guess, or answer.
I'm just saying, be lasagna, be a real G, move in silence. I mean, I don't know if you need to. I don't know. I guess maybe you do announce this because then it does give you more juice. Maybe it opens more kids' eyes to your university and puts you in the running with some of them. And I don't know how much of it's the dollar figure. I think it's just because it's a basketball player. If this would have said we've signed Amarius Mims to Miami as a football player, biggest deal to date, 2 years, $800,000 plus a car. Congrats, Amarius Mims. I'd be like, all right, man, a left tackle for 2 more years. $400,000 per season, if you maybe sneak and you win the Coastal, and maybe you knock off Clemson or Florida State in the ACC championship game, and you're in New Year's Six Bowl. Yeah, man, you feel extremely good about that investment. But the freaking March Madness is such a crapshoot. I mean, who's to say that Miami won't have a better regular season, but then lose in the round of 32?
If you have
but I guess to your point,
this
though,
guy's legitimately if he's a billionaire,
Yeah.
what is $800,000 to him? Like, I can't even do the math. Is that like $100 to you and me?
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
Like $800,000 to a billionaire is zero. It's nothing. It's minuscule.
You win, John Ruiz. You win.
That's what it is, man. He's like, okay, I'll give you like $3.5 million is nothing to a billionaire.
Right.
You know, so he makes that in a day probably. If the stock market hits right, he makes that in a day. So he's not worried about losing $800,000, and it's not losing because he thinks he's paying for something. So I guess this kid's going to be there for 2 years now. That'll be interesting. What if this kid? That's what I want to see. The next step in all this is a kid that signs a 2-year deal for $800,000. What if he averages 22 a game next year and is awesome and goes pro?
Yeah, I think at that point, I'm pretty sure in the contract, I'm sure there's something about, for as long as you're not employed, but so as long as you're enrolled at the University of Miami, you will be paid this. So when he goes into the NBA draft, I guess that's the whole thing you're hoping. Like, we'll give you $800,000 over 2 years, but hopefully you'll be so good that you'll do everything we need in this one season, and you can go to the NBA and make millions, and we all win. So,
yeah.
All right.
The clutch shot, the biggest hits. It's time for the Zaxby's Indescribably Good
Player of the Week.
You heard the man. It is the Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week segment. We do it every Monday. You should be eating Zaxby's every single day. Was probably going to go with Jordan Carry-On until the meltdown in the 8th inning on Sunday. He's come alive at the plate. Had a great defensive play in the first inning, but again, he melted down the 8th inning. You don't get the big piece of chicken, Jordan. You know who does? The Kia NBA Rookie of the freaking Year. How about Scottie Barnes from ACC 6th Man of the Year to the top rookie in this incoming class in the NBA from the 2021 draft? Scottie Barnes becomes, I think, the first Florida State Seminole to ever win that honor. What a monster season. I know he got injured and hasn't been able to play in the playoffs to his capabilities, but to earn that sort of distinction, man, just shows you just how well this program was recruiting and how awesome he is, how indescribably awesome he is, Corey. You?
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome to see. It was really, really close between him and the Evan Mobley kid from USC, coached by Andy Enfield, former Florida State assistant. My indescribably good player, we're going to go to the diamond, not the baseball one, because that's sometimes sad, especially when on the road. We're going to go to the softball team. They were at home this past weekend. They swept Clemson, top 20 Clemson. And our girl, Sydney Sherrill, who's the lone holdover from the national championship team. She was a freshman on that team. It was her senior weekend, senior day on Saturday for her. She did this for the series. She had 6 RBIs. I believe she had 4 hits, including a 2-run homer. A double. She's already I think she's the ACC leader, career leader in doubles. But she had another one of those, had some big hits. They won the Saturday game comfortably. But the first 2 games came down to the wire, and Sydney had some big hits in that game, in those games. And just more, it's also a career accomplishment for her to have this great a career for the last 5 years and ending it on senior day with 2 more RBIs, 6 for the weekend. Good to see her hitting like this. And so she was indescribably good, and it's been an indescribably good career for her and that softball program since she's been there.
Crushed it. Scottie Barnes, Sydney Sherrill, our Zaxby's Indescribably Good Players of the Week. All right. Scotty gets the big piece of chicken, fried chicken from Zaxby's, that is.
Hey, speaking of Zaxby's real quick, I'm not going to bring up their main competitor, but we all know who their main competitor is. And, if you want to eat there on Sunday, good luck. Sorry. But
Church's
I'm telling
is open
you,
on Sunday. We're talking about Church's Chicken's open on Sundays.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. And Lindy's, is that one? Is that a fried chicken place? Yeah. But, man, Zaxby's salads, I'm telling you guys, like all the other competitors are just weak imitators. Like Zaxby's salads are the truth. Mm-hmm. Cobb, chef, the grilled, just the grilled chicken, the fried chicken, however you want to do it, man. Their salads are second to none. So if you're trying to stay healthy, maybe don't get the fried chicken in your salad, get the grilled chicken. But that stuff is great, man. They have cornered the market in my eyes. In the chicken wars, Zaxby's has shot to the moon when it comes to the salad game.
That's right. That is right. All right, man. I did want to give a little bit more shine to Scottie. It's a huge deal for him to win Rookie of the Year. Crazy again that he had to come off the bench, but hey, that's a whole other argument for another day that I don't want to get involved in because I'm not intelligent enough to get involved in that battle, in that war of words, if you will. But his rookie season, he averaged 15 points, 7.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, over a steal per game. Led all rookies in minutes, third in points. Just sixth rookie to ever average 15, 7, and 3 and a steal. That's just this kid's amazing. Is he going to be the best Florida State NBA player?
Well, look, Dave Cowens is still out there, and that's a tough mantle. I mean, he's on top of that podium. It's going to be tough to push him off because he's a Hall of Famer and one of the top 50 players to ever play.
MVP, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, no. So, and he was there. He's a world champ. But Scottie Barnes does so many things well. The one thing I wonder about when it comes to him, if he can just become an adequate jump shooter, if he becomes an above-average jump shooter, he will literally be a Hall of Famer. There's no chance he won't be because you can't guard him otherwise.
Well, he'll be Kevin Durant if he does that, won't he?
Well, like Kevin, no, he's not going to be Kevin Durant, but he can be a better defender than Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant, when he was in his prime, was a very good defender. But Barnes is next level, and I think Barnes is a better playmaker for other people. But Durant might be the best scorer that's ever lived. This series that he's playing right now, notwithstanding, Durant's incredible. So let's not put him on that. Let's not put him on that track. But if he can become a guy that if you leave him open can knock down jump shots, he will be unguardable because he's a guard. They play him point guard half the time, and you can't. He's going to post up guys, and he scores in the paint at a rapid rate. He plays that. And the beauty about Scottie Barnes, man, is to me he's kind of like Draymond Green in the sense that he doesn't care how many points he scores. He's not a volume scorer. He doesn't there have been games where he scored 30. There's been games where he scored 7. He doesn't care. He literally genuinely just wants his team to win. And that's all he cares about. I guarantee you he doesn't know. Maybe he does now because he just won Rookie of the Year. But in February, he probably didn't know how many points he averaged. I bet if you asked him, he doesn't know how many points he averaged in college. He doesn't care about that. He just cares about the win total. And that's genuine. Like that guy just does whatever it takes to win basketball games. And he got a bad break in the playoffs with the ankle. He did play in Game 4. They won, but he clearly wasn't as 100%. He wasn't himself. But that guy he might be the youngest player in the league, man. The youngest or second youngest to start on a playoff team, and I think he led that team in minutes as a rookie, a 19 or 20-year-old rookie is nuts. And he's only going to get better because, he's adapted now to the game. Like that the adjustment was barely an adjustment, but he's just going to get better because that's life, right? You just get better the more you do something. The longer he's in the NBA, the better he's going to be. And he just does so many things well on a basketball court, man. He's not great at anything. Maybe you could say he's great at defense. But offensively, he's not great at anything. But he's good at almost everything except shooting. He's still got to work on the shooting, which is a big part of basketball, right? But he does everything else so well that you wonder, why won't he play till he's 34 years old? I mean, he should be in the league for the next 13 or 14 years. And he's going to make $1 billion. He's just going to get a couple of huge contracts because he is a guy that facilitates winning. He guards 1 through 5. He makes the right pass. He makes the right play. He's a good teammate. He's energetic. He's just always playing as hard as possible. And he's a good role model, man, for kids out there that are learning the game. Like so many kids just care about getting theirs and getting their points. And we lost by 8. Yeah, but I had 28. Scottie Barnes doesn't care. If he has 28 points and they lose, he's mad. If he has 8 points and they win, he's happy. And that's something that I just think is invaluable when it comes to basketball players. And it's just really cool that he won that award. So good, kudos to him, and kudos for Leonard and Stan for and CY. C Benedict Arnold, CY. Just kidding, CY. You know I love you. Kudos to them for getting him on campus because one of the biggest regrets of COVID, and trust me, there's a million of them, was not getting to see Scottie Barnes play in front of full gyms and play in front of a packed house at the Civic Center. Because that guy, everybody would have fed off him, man. It would have been so much fun to see him in front of 10,000 people instead of 1,100 people. But either way, that was really cool that he got to play at Florida State for a year, and we got to cover him.
And he also stars in a commercial, cross promotion between ESPN and I guess there's another Jurassic Park movie. I don't know how many more of those are left, but they're still cranking them out apparently. He's in a commercial for that. So it's funny. He walks in. He's like, what's with all the dinosaurs in here? And then Kareem's at a cubicle. Kareem's like, whoa, I heard that. And they're like, dude, you can't talk about Kareem that way. Because nobody else sees the dinosaurs. But then Jeff Goldblum walks on. He's like, everybody thought I was crazy too. Didn't. Anyhow.
Oh, all right. Yeah. That is clever.
Yeah.
You think they actually met? They probably weren't on the same set, were they? Him and Jeff.
No. I'm sure Jeff Goldblum was green screen in his own house and then mailed it to them.
Right.
He's like,
yeah.
ESPN. Yeah, I'll set this one out. All right, to the diamond we go. As Corey said, Sydney Sherrill helped lead a sweep of number 17 Clemson for the Seminoles in softball. 5-4 the win on Thursday, 7-6 on Friday, and then 6-zip on Saturday. So they're back to their winning ways, controlling things. That's crazy, man. I didn't realize Sydney Sherrill's a senior, and it just makes 18 feel that long ago. But it's not that long ago, but it kind of is. But shout out to them. They keep winning. Baseball, meanwhile, I don't want to be how I am with football, with everything in my life, because then I would really be just sad and just bitter all the time. But there's some romanticism left in me when it comes to baseball. I want to be there, Corey. I want to be front seat. I don't want to be a fan later. I want to be there the entire ups and downs, the crests, the ebbs,
right.
All that when it finally does happen. Because a little part of me didn't really completely open my heart to 13 until after the Clemson, just blowing them out, which was early in the season. But when I saw the Pitt game, I'm like, all right, that's fine, that's cool. The ball never hit the ground really, but we'll see. And then even the Maryland game, I thought was going to also be a problem. So I kind of never let myself fully open up to it. But then by the time they beat Clemson every Saturday, I'm like, oh, we're gonna smoke everybody. This team is nowhere near 2013 Florida State football, obviously. I
Correct.
Don't think,
hey, I agree with that. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say I agree with that.
I don't think they're going to go to Omaha. There's just way too many blemishes that keep happening. I know it's April. Although, man, it's late April. They are who they are.
We're almost in May now.
There's just so many things that comes with football where I understand people get upset at me. Like, Aslan, why do you keep looking at the negative side of things? Why don't you look at the positive side? Why don't you look at the fact that they're really good in the red zone? Which, all right, you're true. That's right. But there's too many other things that keep going wrong on Saturdays for the football team for me to be like, all right, they're gonna flip this switch, they're gonna turn this corner, and they're gonna play at this sort of this ceiling, this imagined ceiling we have for them. They're gonna hit it and then maybe crash their head through it for the next 6 weeks. It's just not the way sports works. You are who you are. You've shown us enough evidence. When people show you who they are, believe them. And they're not a good fielding team. They have how can you, if Gene Williams, the founder administrator of this website, this empire is like, Aslan, I want to hire a full-time video editor. Here are 4 people. Figure it out for me. And then I give him somebody that quite literally just frankly cannot edit well. Does not know how to do a proper cut, does not know how to do composition when it comes to editing video. How bad does that look on me? How are you Mike Martin Jr.? How do you not have a good fielding catcher at minimum? At minimum. Let alone a guy that's 3 of his last 28. That's like a 110 percentage in the last 30 at-bats he's had. I don't want to pick on him. Jordan Carrion came alive this weekend, but then when they needed him most to make a couple good plays in the 8th inning to stop the bleeding, starts kicking the ball around. That feels a little unfair because he's been better on the whole overall. But the base running gaffes, these things that have happened for 10 years practically, that for some reason we thought we were going to get all the good that happened from Florida State since Mike Martin Jr. has been part of the program, coaching with his father. We thought we were going to preserve all the good stuff, and then all the bad things that have happened, we pinned it on 11. That's because his dad wanted to do those sort of stuff. That was because his dad's energy would make people get tight in the dugout in important moments. We did this whole little mental gymnastics thing where it's no, man, we've seen how it's looked the last 15 years. Is it really going to change? Is it going to change much? No, it's not. They still don't run the base as well, and for some reason their offense has gone a little bit cold and stagnant here the last 2-3 years, which none of us had factored in. And quite frankly, the starting pitching isn't all that good anymore. Outside of Parker Messick, and Parker Messick is amazing. Parker Messick is fantastic. But Bryce Hubbard's fallen on hard times in the last month. Carson Montgomery gets you 1 inning of work. Their bullpen is still an absolute lottery, just debacle of a gong show. It's basically who wants to be the guy that's going to be the GOAT on this one, and not the good GOAT. Everybody, all these things just continue to happen. I know it didn't
you're talking about old school GOAT,
Old
like
school
the opposite
GOAT.
of hero. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what GOAT used to mean, kids.
Yeah.
When you were a GOAT, that mean you were the
scapegoat.
You were the scapegoat. Yeah, you're the one the reason they lost the game. You were the GOAT. And now GOAT means the greatest of all time somehow.
Yeah, 4 errors in 1 inning. You had every
that's tough.
chance to – you jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the second inning and thought you were
that's
going to
tough.
cruise, and then you walk a guy, you hit a guy with a pitch, and then you get a 3-run home run knocked off, and you're in the middle of a fist fight with a team that's frankly not all that great. I know Meat said everybody in this conference is great. Clemson's not a slouch, but you should have put them away easily on Sunday. You didn't. Here you are. I'm just going to believe that, just make the tournament, keep the streak alive, tie Miami or overtake them. But I don't know, man. Too many of the things that have haunted them for too long continue to happen, and even into this season. That's where I'm at. I'm sorry, Corey. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, again, and I'm certainly not a defender of this team this year, but they're 6-2 in their last 8, with 4 ranked wins and a win over Clemson. At Clemson, like they didn't kill themselves RPI wise this weekend, even though they lost the series. They had a chance to really do some damage though, because they won a game and they had the lead in the 8th inning of 2 other games, right?
Yes.
That they lost. They blew 2 8th inning leads. Like that's unfortunate. Davis Hare gave up a grand slam in the first game on Friday, and he's been lights out for you for the most part. So what are you going to do? It's not like Meat made a mistake there going to Davis Hare. The kid just didn't deliver when he had been delivering a lot. Some of that might be on the road, man. Being on the road's different than pitching in front of the animals. And then Sunday, I don't blame that on Scalaro or Hare either. Like Scalaro, look, it's to the point now where I think with Scalaro, and I've been a defender of Scalaro, at least in text messages, but. You've got too many other good arms for him to be the guy you always put in high leverage situations, because he's let you down so many times this year. He just has. I don't know how else to say it. He comes in with first and second, 1 out when you have a 1-run lead. What does he do? He got a fly ball, and then what? A double?
Yep.
Gives up a double, then walks another kid. Like this, it's not.
I think he fell behind. He walked, intentionally walked somebody. Then I think he fell behind 2-0 on another batter, and then they brought in, I think, a reliever at that point.
Brought in Hare after. But either way, it's like this guy has not been delivering what you thought he was going to. And at some point, now that we're in late April, maybe change your perception of who Jonas Scalaro is this year. He's just not the guy he was last year. And, he's been the part of, and I'm not blaming it all on him, clearly, but there have been a lot of lost leads in late innings this year.
Dude,
and he's been in the middle of a lot of them.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but on Friday and during the telecast, they were saying that Florida State had been outscored 33-3 in the 8th inning. And that was after the grand slam on Friday. And then they melted down and allowed 3 runs in the 8th on Sunday. And
so 36-3 now? 36-3?
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. That's crazy to give up 36 runs in 1 inning. And that's Scalaro's inning for a lot of people. Yeah. So at some point, you have to change who you're putting out there. Like the Whitaker kid did awesome on Saturday. He's the reason they won the game, period, on Saturday. I think he went 3 1/3 and didn't give up a hit, didn't give up a run. And I thought Crowell was good on Sunday. So, but the main story here is really, you got to figure out what you're doing with Carson Montgomery, man. That kid, like, I don't understand, and I guess I get it. Having a Sunday starter is a big deal. But after you saw what just happened, just make that kid your closer. Let Wyatt Crowell start on Sundays. Let Whitaker start on Sundays. Let Scalaro be an opener. But make Carson Montgomery your closer. You have not had a kid that came in. If you could have Davis Hare and Carson Montgomery in the back of your pen, where you're only asking an inning out of Montgomery, why not do it? He's throwing 96-97. You saw the adrenaline against Georgia Southern I think it was Georgia Southern, right? Or maybe it was the week.
It was Georgia Southern. It was Georgia Southern this week. The midweek game.
Yeah.
Extra
but
innings,
he also did it. But didn't he also do it in on Sunday? I thought I don't remember. But anyway, I think
he might have closed out a game against Louisville.
Yeah, he came in against Louisville.
Yeah.
And just dominated their 3-4 hitters. Like, you haven't had that this year. So that's like, you're losing games in the 8th inning. You're not losing games 1 through the first inning through the 5th inning. You're losing games in the 8th inning. So as bad as Montgomery was on Sunday, you still had a lead going into the 8th inning again, And, you didn't have anybody to get those outs that you need to get. So I just think you've got too many power arms, major league potential arms, and you're losing games because of, look, man, I like the kid. He's giving them a lot of outs. You can't keep hanging everything on Jonas Scalaro. Like, you've got too many other guys out there. This guy has been a part of a lot of runs in that 8th inning. That why you're being outscored 36-3 in one inning, which is impossible to believe. I mean, it's not impossible to believe. It's just an impossibility to be that bad in one inning. Minus 33 in one inning, that's nuts over the course of a season. When you're a good team, like Florida State's fringe ranked. They're above 500 in a tough conference. They're a good team, not a great team, not a College World Series team probably. And you're getting absolutely destroyed in the 8th inning. It also means you can't hit anybody's good pitching. Anybody that brings in their back end guys in the bullpen, you don't have a chance. You just don't touch those guys typically because you don't have a very good offense. But that's another story. But I just think moving forward, if Carson Montgomery had been the closer this weekend instead of the Sunday starter, it's a good chance you go 2-1 and you win the series. Instead, you saved him for 1 1/3 in a Sunday start. He got drilled in the 2nd inning. Came out of Carson Montgomery's too big of an arm to give you 1 inning in a Sunday game. And again, obviously, at the front of it, obviously you didn't want him to go. You want him to go more than that, but man, just ride that kid I just think you got to coach to the strength of your team. That kid has not proven, in my opinion, that he's going to be a dominant 6-7 inning starter guy like Messick. So would you rather him affect one game or affect 2, possibly 3 games in the course of a series? But that's what this team is, man. That's why I didn't get too high when they went on their winning streak. But it's also why I'm too low on them right now after losing 2 out of 3 at Clemson, because they had a chance to win all 3. They're going to strike out a lot. They're not a good offense. Their bullpen, I think that's a perfect way to put it. It's a lottery. Like sometimes Crowell is awesome, like he was on Sunday. Sometimes he gives up 3 runs in a third of an inning. Most times Davis Hare is really good. Friday he gave up 4 runs in an inning, and you lost the game. Like that, Jonas Scalaro is hit or miss. They all seem to be hit or miss. The only one that has been awesome, there's 2 guys I feel like that have been really good when they've been counted on the bullpen all year. Connor Whitaker and then Montgomery, but it's only been twice. That's a small sample size. But the bullpen, the fielding, the base running, the offense, the bullpen has been average, I would say, because they've had some great moments too. The fielding has been average. The base running is below average. The offense is below average. And Hubbard was all right. Like he only gave up 2 runs, but he didn't strike anybody out, which was odd. So you wonder what's like. Literally, Clemson struck out 3 times on Saturday. They still lost the game, but imagine a Florida State team only striking out 3 times in a game. That's impossible. And on Sunday, I think Clemson struck out 8 times. So in the last 2 games of the series, the non-Messick games, Clemson struck out 11 times total. Florida State struck out 25 times total. That's 5 extra innings of Clemson just putting the ball in play. And look, man, you saw Clemson on Sunday had 5 errors too.
Yeah.
They can't field either. Imagine if you put the ball in play. You might get 2 or 3 extra runs because they'll give them to you because you're just putting the ball in play. So, this team is what it is. That's why the potential of this team, in my opinion, is maybe if they get to a regional, which they should, maybe they're good. Maybe they go on a run and somehow host a super regional, but that seems outlandish at this point. But they could maybe host a regional if they play well the last month of the season. But if they get in the tournament, I think their ceiling is maybe getting hot and reaching Omaha. Maybe. Because they do have some electric arms. But can they win Omaha as currently constructed? No chance.
Yeah.
No chance. They don't field well enough, and they're not a good enough offense. They just aren't. They can't win Omaha. So it's like, just get me to next season and show me a team that's better than this. Show me a team with more draftable hitters. Legitimate hitters like Trayton Rank has been all right.
Yeah, so's Tibbs been really good.
Fair. So you've got some guys that you feel like, okay, in a year or 2, these freshmen are going to be juniors and they might be the real deal. They may be the 1, 2, 3 in the lineup, and they might be guys that can really play and are All-American, All-ACC candidates. But right now, I feel like they're your best hitters. Them and Carry On. Carry On's been good lately.
Yeah.
Tyler Martin's giving you basically nothing. since he got back in the lineup. He get on base once a game. That's fine, but he's not getting on base 4 times a game.
Hey, Drew game-winning walk.
Yeah,
George
that's true.
Southern.
Good point.
He's all right.
He's doing all right. He's not, but there's nothing great about that lineup. Nothing.
No.
There's no great hitters right now. Tibbs can be, I think, might be, but there are no great hitters right now. And you just you wonder who's coming. Is the Cavalry coming next year in the form of transfers? Is that where the Amarius Mims money goes? They're gonna take that 6-figure deal and give it to some slugging kid out of TCU or something. Do it, man. Whatever it takes. But you've got to get more hitters on this campus, man. The only kid that has legitimate game-changing power is Terrell, and he's good for 1 hit a series at this point.
The crazy thing is he still leads the team in home runs and RBIs, and I feel like he's done mostly nothing in the last 30 days.
But he's had some big hits. He's had some big hits for him. But a real disappointment this year.
At home, that's the thing.
Yes,
on the road,
correct.
when he doesn't have that short porch in right field, he's that much more sort of minimized and marginalized.
Yeah, but to me, the real disappointment this year, and they've got to find a way to get him going, is Lacey.
Yes,
he's giving you nothing. He's a good hitter, man,
and he's trouble in the field too right now. He's committing errors as well. He was actually pretty solid at third base last season.
Yeah, but they put him in every different position. They put him at center, they put him at third, they put him at second. I get it; it's tough to find a home, but they've got to figure out a way to get that kid going because he's given them nothing here lately. Not really nothing for much of the season, and he's too good a hitter. Like he's a guy you're probably counting on to hit close 300, have an on-base percentage close to 400, have a slugging percentage of 550, and it's been nothing close to that this year so far. So, but that maybe he gets going and he can carry you for a weekend like he did. He was really good in that Miami series last year. Him and Robbie Martin. That's all it takes. Get 2 guys that are red hot. You can go down there and pummel a team. But right now, it's just not working out, at least this weekend against Clemson. Well, really, the whole season. Their offense is bad. I don't know how else to say it, guys. They're 13th in the ACC in runs scored out of 14 teams. They're 13th in slugging. They're like 11th in on-base percentage. There's nothing redeeming about this offense right now. Their pitching has kind of saved them, but their pitching has been hit or miss too. So it's not a great team. It's not constructed all that well. Too much swing and miss. Not enough ball fours, and not enough power. But other than that, they're still about 10 games above 500, and they have a chance.
He can't shoot. He's got bad touch around the rim, but he's good. We're gonna spend a lottery pick on the kid. We're still gonna spend a lottery pick on the kid. I love it. They do like every year in the NBA drafts. Like he's got to work on his shooting, his touch in the paint, not so good. But yeah, they're gonna draft him 7th overall. It's like, what sport? Like these are important things. I know you're being funny about it, but they're not being funny when they're talking about it on draft night for the NBA. But you're trying to be a little, tongue-in-cheek, try to walk me off the edge here. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, man, Logan Lacey's only slugging 401. He's got 12 extra base hits all year. That's crazy.
For the last several. It's been the last few weeks. Maybe it's been rough. He started off the season, I think, fairly decently. And I think, with Hubbard, I set the bar really high. I thought there was a point early in the season. I'm like, man, he might be a little bit better than Parker Messick. He might be nipping on his heels, and he's not that guy, which is really rarefied air. So
yeah, their numbers are close though. I'm just looking at it now. Like Hubbard has a 3.02 ERA, Messick is 2.89. Hubbard, the difference is the strikeouts. Like Hubbard's still striking out 66 and 56 innings, but Messick is 102 and 62. So that's the bigger difference. Like he doesn't make contact, but like Messick's batting average against is 200, Hubbard's is 230. Like a 230 batting average against and a 3.02 ERA, that's terrific for a number 2 starter. That's one of the best lines for a number 2 starter in the ACC, probably in the country. But yeah, he hasn't been dominant like he looked at times earlier in the year against lesser competition.
I like the thought of that though. I didn't even think about starting Crowell on Sunday and then having Montgomery be your closer just kind of full time. Because I wonder where he operates best, and we'll get Austin Cox here in a minute to talk about recruiting. But I do wonder I was trying to think of like how would you describe Wyatt Crowell, because I was like maybe he's the fireman, like he just comes in and puts out fires, but he really doesn't. He doesn't come in very many high leverage situations, but like in that sort of that loser leaves the regional game, or if you're in an elimination game in Omaha and your starter only goes 2 innings and you're down 3-0 early on. Basically the way Sunday worked out, like you bring in Wyatt Crowell and you blink and then all of a sudden it's the 6th inning and they haven't scored any more runs on you. and you're still in the game because this guy just came in and ate up, and he's retired 10 guys in a row. He's got like a weird sort of niche he operates in. I don't know, but maybe if he is a Sunday starter, opener, however you want to call it, maybe he'll find the right headspace operating there, because Meat likes him a lot, man. Meat talked about he's a guy that thinks will pitch a long time in the majors. So
and he's been good lately. I'm looking at it now for the season. He's got a 2.86 ERA. He's got 40 strikeouts in 28 innings, 227 batting average against, 10 walks. He's good, man. He's a good pitcher. I don't know that you're getting enough out of him though. Like a middle relief guy, like I don't know that he's like that was the first time he pitched all weekend, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't. I mean, he did, like, he came in and did a really good job. But what if Montgomery had been good? Then Crowell maybe doesn't even pitch. Like, I feel like there's got to be a bigger role for him. And I just think, man, there's not a lot of 97 around the country. And Montgomery in a ninth inning or an eighth inning in a high leverage spot, ninth inning coming in with a 2-run lead or a 1-run lead, he is going to be throwing 97 miles an hour. And there just aren't many college kids that can hit that. He has nasty stuff. And I just feel like that might be more of his role than saving him for a Sunday. Because, if you're going to win a regional, you're going to need guys to get those last 3 outs or last 6 outs. And I just don't believe in Scalaro right now. He's okay. He's just not a guy in a high leverage situation that I would feel as good about as I would Carson Montgomery. And you can piece together that third start. Hopefully they figure out Ross Dunn and he goes back to it. But you can figure out that, or maybe start Scalaro. That was his best game of the year. Yeah. Was when he started against Florida. So try that maybe. But high leverage into the game situations, man. You want guys that can miss bats. And my man, what is it? Montgomery he's pitched 39 innings, has 44 strikeouts. But in relief, I think he's faced 5 batters and struck out 4 of them.
Yeah, so his relief appearance against Georgia Southern was 4 pitches.
Yeah. He had a strikeout and a pop-up or something?
Yeah, I think so.
And then his batting average against is 197. Scalaro's batting average against is 262. Come on, man. Yeah. Like, Scalaro struck out 36 and 27 innings, but, if he gets behind 2-0, he's imminently hittable. And Montgomery, you can still get outs. But this is probably too much time talking about baseball. It's above average team nationally, barely. It's not an above average team for Florida State in any way, shape, or form. Maybe they can get hot. I think they play TCU this weekend.
Yes, correct.
And then maybe Miami the next weekend or the weekend after that.
Yeah.
But they got some big home series coming up. They didn't play terribly this weekend, except on Sunday, where they 5 errors I know Clemson committed 5 too, but 4 errors in 1 inning, 2 by your catcher.
Left 13 on base too.
That doesn't help either. Yeah, doesn't help either.
Those 5 errors, 4 happened in 1 inning, the 8th inning. So
yeah, that's tough. That's rough. That's just melting down. I don't know how else to say it. That's choking. That's melting down. Games on the line, series on the line. That's a choke job. 4 errors in 1 inning is nuts. Jordan Carrion has been awesome this year at shortstop.
Yeah.
Colton Vincent is their best option defensively behind the plate, but he's just not great. He's not a great defensive catcher, and he does shut down running games because he does have a great arm, but he's not great at other stuff, blocking the ball. He had a pass ball in that inning and 2 errors. Literally in 1 inning, he had a pass ball and 2 other errors.
Well, it's 2 errors for throwing. We're trying to get guys at second base, but that was some funky stuff with they got Trayton Ring playing everywhere, and him and Carrion are both descending on second base, and no one's really calling who's going to be who. But
that's tough. That goes back to coaching, man. Figure that out. You got a week now because I think it's finals coming up, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they have a midweek game.
They don't.
So I think their next game is Friday at TCU. You got 4 or 5 days. Figure it out, man. Figure it out. You still got time to rectify this thing. But yeah, that was an ugly loss on Sunday.
You almost make me want to fall back in love with the team, but I won't do it, Corey. I'm not going to do it.
Please don't. They don't deserve your love right now, man. They don't deserve it.
All right, let's get all the ins and outs of recruiting. Michael Langston on vacation, but we're not on vacation. Austin Cox has been over at the Moore Center all weekend long. He'll talk about that right after this. As advertised, we got Austin Cox, staff writer for warchant.com. He also spends his waking moments alongside Michael Langston outside the Moore Center covering recruiting for us. But when Michael's on vacation, Austin keeps things running along smoothly for us. Also over on the PRB. Austin, how are you, man? Thanks for being here, bud.
Appreciate you having me, Aslan, and doing good. Couldn't get a win from the Braves today, but other than that, I'm doing good.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I tried to get away from the Noles on Sunday. They broke my heart too, man. So let's focus on the recruiting. Looks like there's some good stuff bubbling up for the Noles. Maybe not the most active weekend recruiting, but we know there are some guys obviously on the radar that are being pursued hot and heavy. Let's start, I guess, at offensive tackle. It's always a position of need, it seems like, for Florida State. Just it's Groundhog Day every day. Luke Burgess out of New Palestine, Indiana, 4-star, 6'8", 273 pounds. That'll hunt, I feel like. What do we know about Luke Burgess?
Yeah, definitely. So, he's a guy we got to see a little bit in person. He visited during a spring practice in March. So it's kind of the second time he's, had a little contact. This was a, case where offensive coordinator Alex Atkins visited him, and went to his practice. That's something that really kind of stood out to him, is that he, made that trip up to Indiana. That stood out to Luke, because it's, that's definitely not a, you're just visiting just to see him. That's quite a trip. So this week it's kind of been a little bit more spread out. Coaches hitting the road, so he looked like a target that they were certainly one of the first guys that Atkins went out and saw. So it's definitely I think it was someone that they're gaining a lot of ground with right now. Burgess is someone that really likes Atkins. He really likes Norvell. I think that he's someone that might not have been directly out in front on the offensive line radar a few months ago. He's someone that I think they're really targeting right now. He had a lot of good things to say about Atkins, and just kind of his understanding of offense. And he also likes FSU as a program as well. He kind of likes the fact that they're somewhat of a sleeping giant, quote unquote. If you look at them historically, and he thinks that they're kind of a team that could be on the rise. So they've really done a lot of good work there. And you mentioned his size. He's a really impressive guy. He when he was out at practice last month, he was actually decked out in all Florida State gear. Spent a lot of time with a couple of off-field staff members too, like Derek Ray, a couple other guys. But definitely someone that I think Florida State's gaining some ground with.
All right, moving on then. Also the back end, which I don't know, man. I guess we need defensive backs. Apparently Florida State's still in the market for that, possibly in the transfer market. But when we look at people in the prep side of things, Cameron Upshaw Jr., what do we know about that young man, and I guess Florida State's pursuit of him?
Yeah, definitely. Looking at Cameron Upshaw Jr., your local guy, he used to be at Gaston County High School when Corey Fuller, former FSU defensive backs, now on FSU staff. So it certainly has a lot of connections to FSU. Now he's over at Taylor County, so he stayed kind of local. I think he's someone who, he really likes FSU a lot. His interest has only grown him for FSU. They offered him in January, and I think, Florida State's really been kind of getting a little more serious with him, and, he's really responding a lot to that. I think the contact is up with him. He spoke a lot about how, he's got really, 4 or 5 different coaches on the staff contacting him right now, and that's really impressed him. I think Norvell has had a lot of contact with him lately as well. That's something, that really has stood out to Upshaw. And, if you look at him, just the comfort level is just so high there with not only Fuller, but also Keewan Ratliff, a few other coaches on the staff too. Of course, Marcus Woodson, defensive backs coach. He's someone that I think that Florida State, not really, you wouldn't say they're leading for him. That's not something that he would say, that he said. But I think that, Florida State could be a team that's really tough to beat in the race from him, given the connections, close to home, and, also just the fact that, the relationship really seems to be growing with them this calendar year, the past 4 or 5 months. So that's definitely a guy to watch, as we move into the summer, I would say.
And Cameron Upshaw Jr., safety, 3-star, 6'3", 180. Now he's in Perry now. He's in Taylor County, huh, Austin? So he goes from Gadsden County to Taylor County. He loves himself some real Florida.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's definitely two impressive programs that is down home country programs are gonna come up and get you.
Shout out to Cameron Upshaw Jr. All right, then obviously the calendar's so funny these days, and you mentioned a guy like Burgess, making a visit twice here in about a month worth of time is obviously a really encouraging sign for Florida State. But the fans obviously keeping an eye on this 2023 class and where maybe the next commitment's going to pop. In terms of needs being met, Austin, where do you think Florida State should kind of be focusing things on, at least here in the immediate term, to get their next commitment on board? What position do you think really strikes you as something that either is a need that needs to be met or maybe one that is close to coming to fruition here in terms of a commitment?
Obviously you look at like quarterback and receiver, they're kind of, getting to where they need to be there, but there's still a few positions that they don't have a commit yet, which is fine. You look at, I think we actually had a poster posted on the boards a few days ago, kind of looking at just, a lot of major programs and where they're at with the number of commitments, being at 6, the number that they're at is fine right now. It's kind of more stacked towards certain positions, receiver and defensive line. So really, I would say probably the 2 spots that, they might want to see a commitment the next 3 or 4 months would probably be offensive line, preferably offensive tackle, and then also probably linebacker. You could also throw defensive back in there, but I would say maybe linebacker might be more of a need if you look at the current roster Florida State has. And, obviously they brought in an impressive defensive back class that we're really liking. Both Sam McCall and Azari Thomas. Not that doesn't affect it, too greatly, but I would say probably linebacker and offensive line.
Right on. There we go. Austin Cox gave us the rundown on Florida State's recruiting. This is just the tip of the iceberg, though. Much more in terms of updates and information over on the PRB. That is the premium recruiting board on warchant.com, so do check it out. For Corey and Austin, I'm Aslan. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.